it's very clear at this point. Apple's now had their big focus on Gen AI and everything around it. They really need to tell the street that they can do it better, if not better, at least match what Google has showcased in the past few months. If they don't do that, I don't think it's going to be really good for investors in the near term, because so far the story has been Apple has lagged behind and they have not done much. We have heard from Mark Gurman that they have a contract upcoming with OpenAI that can infuse some of the features in there. Now, remember one thing. Apple has the distribution. Apple has over 1 billion smartphone users. So if they can get somebody to use their products, I think it's going to help them out in the long run. But I would say a lot hinges on in this June 10th event for them.
So how do you define this overused word ecosystem? I mean, is their ecosystem nothing more than an ecosystem of convenience? Or is it a tangible ecosystem? Is it a tangible universe?
So if you think about it, Tom, the way I think about it is ecosystem of Excel users. I mean, free Google Sheets have come and gone. I wouldn't care about it. You could argue that, the same is the ecosystem for people who read Wall Street journals. Once you are in that install base, you're not going to move away. Even if I get a cheaper phone out there, I'm not moving away from Android to iOS or vice versa. So I think the real big kicker here is, do they really have the compelling next generation app where it can keep the users that may decide to either pick iOS or Android in the long run? So I think the ecosystem is sticky because once you get into one, you don't get out of it. But they really need to showcase that they have the mindset to
Paul,
keep people in it.
Paul, NVIDIA is over $1,100.
Yeah.
So they were stock splitting to 100. My first number was 97. And right now they stock split to $110 per share.
Yep. How about, that's the way to play AI in a lot of people's minds. Wow. Hey, Anurag, we saw some reporting coming out recently that Apple's China iPhone shipments jumped 52%. What is going on with that? I thought they were losing in China. What's going on there?
So, as Paul, one of the things we learned from the last earnings call on Apple is some of these shipment data shouldn't be relied upon that heavily, because remember, this is the same source that told us Jan-Feb data was down, I think 39-40% or something like that. But when Tim Cook came on the conference call, he said, you know what, iPhone sales were up in mainland China. So the part of the reason the stock's only up 1% and not quite a bit, I'm not expecting a 52% jump in iPhone revenue in the next quarter. I think this just shows, one thing it shows, though, is Apple's not losing out that big as it was made out in the last 6 months. People will buy and sell depending on when the sales are, when the seasonal nature is. So I really don't put that much emphasis on some of this data point.
This China risk, it just doesn't seem to go away. When you talk to these institutional investors in Apple, how do they kind of how do they put that risk kind of to rest a little bit?
Yeah, I think I think the last earnings call as well as the data today should pacify one thing, that this is a cyclical nature of the demand in China and not so much structural shrinking. That's a very good thing for long term, and something that you and I and the three of us have discussed over the last 12 months is, you can say all you want about India and other emerging markets. At least for the next 5 years, Apple's growth in iPhones is going to come from China. Like it or not, that's reality. So I think this is a good news, at least for the next couple of years. Now, one thing is also, I think, getting clearer, something we've been harping on for a while is, this is not a company that's going to grow sales 10% anymore. This is going to be, at best, a 5% sales growth company, and people need to get, comfortable with that.